Today we're going to be checking out the TM-25 clip-on Metro tuner from Lekato. Good afternoon. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you've been doing well. I'm Miles. This is your first time here. Welcome. On this channel, I try to talk about anything and everything that has to do with music, whether it be theory, technique, news around music-related topics, whatever it may be. I try to cover all those things in some sort of capacity. So if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. All right, let's get to it. Today I'm back with another gear review. This one's kind of a straightforward one, so it shouldn't take too long, but I've been known to talk, so we'll see how long it actually ends up taking. Today we're going to be checking out a clip-on tuner / metronome from the company Lekato. I believe it's Lekato, like music in Edo, Lekato. It's the model TM-25. Now some of you out there might be asking, why do I need a tuner? What does a tuner do? Do I really need a tuner to play the kind of music that I want to play on the guitar or bass or violin or ukulele? And the answer is yes for the most part, but I'll try to simplify it by just showing you an example of what a instrument that's in tune sounds like versus another instrument that's out of tune. Now let's say you're in a band situation, whether it be a live performance or you're in the studio and you're layering tracks and stuff, or you could even be recording by yourself and you're just sitting with your laptop and you're just trying to layer a bunch of guitar tracks. And you don't have a tuner, so you're just kind of winging it and you're tuning your guitar to the best of your abilities by ear from one take to the next. This is what a guitar sounds like when you use a tuner to have an accurate pitch for each string versus the other guitars on top of it that you just kind of winged and went from just your perception of what the pitches for each of your strings should be. As you could probably tell, they're not exactly melding together as one solid unit of sound because you have some clashing frequencies going on there because they're not accurately tuned to the same notes. So this is where the problem comes into play if you don't have a tuner and why you absolutely need to have one.
The other benefit of having your own tuner is that you don't have to ask your bandmates to borrow their tuners at every show and at every rehearsal and be that really annoying guy who never has a tuner but always needs to tune his instrument. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. I'm telling you, don't be that guy.
When I was growing up, I didn't have easy access to a tuner. The ones that I had were these big bulky ones that ran on like 6 AA batteries. And if you wanted to use it, you need to have a cable to plug into it that plugged into your guitar. So if you were trying to tune an acoustic guitar, you were kind of stuck. The only other point of reference that you could really have at that point was to go to the 5th fret of your low E string and use that as a reference to tune the following string after that, your A string. And you know, you do that throughout the entire span of the neck of the guitar. But if you're starting with an E string that's out of tune, it doesn't really help. You just have consistently out of tune strings. Most recently, I've seen a lot of companies putting out these clip-on tuners that go on the headstock of a guitar that also can fit on a ukulele or a bass or a violin. And these are pretty cool because basically how they work is by picking up the resonating frequency of the instrument when you pluck the string. It picks up the vibration and how quickly that vibration is occurring and tells you what pitch it is or where you're supposed to be trying to get to. So if you're slightly flat, it'll tell you that it's around this frequency and you need to go up. So these tuners are cool. And what I find to be most beneficial about these types of tuners is that because of how they work, how they function, you can be in a room full of loud noises and still get an accurate tuning on your instrument. So what we're going to be checking out today with this particular tuner is its ability to accurately tune the strings on the guitar, not just in standard tuning, but in other tunings as well. And we're going to check it out and see what it does when I use it with a bass and with my 8-string guitar, just to see if the change in the size of the strings makes any sort of difference. If I have to utilize harmonics in terms of getting a more accurate pitch reading on the tuner. Now, looking at the back of the packaging here, you have a couple different modes that are available to you in terms of how to go about tuning and like what you're going to be tuning with this tuner. You have chromatic, which just means that there's no limitation of the notes. It's all the notes from A to the next octave of A. But then there's also guitar, bass, violin, and ukulele. It says here the tuning range is from A0, so 27.5 hertz, up to C8, which is 4,186 hertz. This tuner also has a metronome built into it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later, about the functionality of that and why it would be handy to have that. But without further ado, let's get down to it and see what this thing is all about. Here we go. All right, so I figure I would do something a little bit different, just kind of like not worry too much about making this a big production. But yeah, let's check out what's going on as far as the contents of the packaging here. So what you get is the tuner. I like that the bass folds over and moves, so you can position this wherever you need to, which is great. And it looks like the head contours to different angles as well, so that's awesome. Clips onto the top of your instrument, and you're good to go. Now, as far as the actual modes on here, there's a button on here that says item. That'll switch from chromatic, which is the C, to then go to G, which is for specifically guitar and standard tuning, and then go to B for bass, and then U for ukulele, V for violin. So if you want something more specific in that case, rather than just dealing with chromatic, you would switch to one of those modes. The buttons that are on the right side of the menu over here will allow you to change the actual number of hertz that you're tuning to as your point of reference for your tuning. So typically you would go for A440, that's what it came in factory default. But if you want to be a weirdo and tune to 432 or something because you want to be better in tune with the universe, you could do that. Don't, but you could. All right, so I'm just trying to figure out how accurate this thing is actually going to be. I should probably take that plastic off, huh? There we go. We're gonna make it after all. All right, so as far as standard tuning, let's check it out. So the screen turns green when you're in the zone. Okay, so there you go. All right, so 8-string guitar, let's see. So it doesn't know that I'm playing an E. Well, now it does. Now we're going to check it out with bass. So now it should be noted that I have my bass tuned down to C sharp standard. So it's already lower than the regular bass strings would be. Like my E in this case is going to be here. So I imagine I'm not going to get an accurate read by just playing the open string. So we're going to probably be relying on harmonic 12th fret in order to get an accurate read of the pitch. But let's check it out. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I mean, probably for standard tuning as well, you're going to want to rely on the 12th fret harmonics when it comes to tuning a bass. But for other instruments that are in higher frequency ranges, you should be okay with just playing the open strings. And it still maintained fairly good accuracy, even with the strings being at this low depth. So now let's talk about the metronome that's built into this tuner. Now, if you hold that item button, it takes you to the metronome. You press the item button again, and it'll allow you to pick how many beats you want your click to be going through, whether it be 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. And then from there, you press the power button, and that starts it up. Now, if you're playing something that's at a faster speed, you would use these buttons over here to adjust the tempo's speed. So if you want to be a lunatic and play something at, what, 300 beats per minute, you can't do it. The highest you can go is 250. And realistically, that's okay. You don't need to go any faster than that. But if you feel so inclined to go faster, you could change the note value. So you have your quarter notes, your eighth notes, triplets, sixteenths. What is that, an eighth and a sixth? That's just mean dotted eighth notes. The other way. So yeah, you got lots of options. So right now I have it set to 170, 6 beats to a measure, eighth note, so it's in 6/8 time. Being able to visually see what's going on as far as the tempo with the pendulum is definitely going to be helpful, but also being able to hear that beep is going to be beneficial if you're practicing something, which in this case, you would use it for that objective. You would put this on the top of your guitar or whatever instrument, and you would use that as your means of keeping a tempo that's steady. 1, 2, 3, So in conclusion, I can't really think of any real negatives that I can speak about as far as this tuner is concerned. The screen has the ability to be posable to pretty much any position you could possibly need it to be in. It's accurate. The metronome is a great feature, and the fact that you can hear a tone from it along with the metronome is great as a reference point as well. And it's $12 on Amazon, so you really can't lose. Now, I said before that this is from the company Musito, but if you look it up on Amazon, it'll be under the brand Lekato, which I don't know, whatever. We can't be getting caught up with labels, you know, like it's just gonna hold us back. But anyway, I'll leave a link to this tuner in the description down below. And other than that, my friends, that's all I got for you for today. I hope you found this to be informative. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I have lots of stuff that's coming up down the pike in terms of new material, new content in the near future. So hopefully you'll be sticking around to check that out. But other than that, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, keep playing. Peace.